Good day, everyone. My name is Jonathan Johnson. I'm here to present the topic Anatomy of Incident Response and Root Cause Analysis. This presentation is presented at the Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics Annual Regional Conference of STEM Educators. These are my outline. I'm going to quickly introduce make an introduction to digital forensics, after which I'll move ahead to digital forensics processes, and then talk about the identification stage, the preservation stage, analysis stage, documentation stage, and of course, the presentation stage. I'll also move on and explain what is meant by the root cause analysis, and then I'll talk about the best practices in digital forensics, and I'll conclude by the presentation by talking about the essence of digital forensics practice. What is digital forensics? Digital forensics is a branch of forensic science that deals with recovering, investigating, examining, and analyzing materials in digital devices. Examples of digital devices are laptops, smartphones, iPad, etc., especially used in cybersecurity incidents. Incident response teams and law enforcement agencies use digital forensics to investigate electronic evidence of a cybercrime. Using digital forensics analysis, these agencies can attribute evidence to suspects, confirm alibis, and identify intents or authenticate documents. There are different types of digital forensics. One, network forensics, which relates to detecting and monitoring network traffic to capture crucial evidence. Disk forensics collects evidence from digital storage devices such as USB, CDs, hard drives, and DVDs. Wireless forensics is a part of network forensics that extract evidence from wireless networking devices. Database forensics investigates databases and their relevant metadata to collect evidence. Email forensics handles the recovery and analysis of trashed data in an email. Malware forensics identifies malicious codes and studies issues related to Trojan and other um, malware activities. Memory forensics investigates data in a computer's cache memory or RAM and presents that as evidence used in a cyber security incident. Now I'm going to talk about digital forensics process. There are actually 5 stages involved in digital forensics process. One is the identification stage. This simply implies collecting the right evidence. Two is the preservation stage, which simply talks about maintaining integrity of the evidence. It must not be tampered with. Three is analysis. This determines the results accuracy. Four, documentation. Documentation of the findings obtained in the analysis stage so that they can be appropriately presented and used in the law court. Five, presentation. So it summarizes and connects logically the findings and documentation so that it's easily presented to even the layman. So I'm going to talk about the identification stage in depth. Now, this phase involves first response, search and seizure, evidence collection, and checking. It is important that the right evidence, like I said earlier on, must be what? Collected. Digital forensics experts identify the problem, they determine what kind of crime occurred, what types of devices may be involved, and how they can use those devices to solve the case. A chain of custody form is very important. This form is created to document whoever is in charge of the evidence collected. Also, from the pictures and from the diagrams on this slide, it is it can be seen that the first stage is the first response. As soon as a security incident occurs and is reported, a digital forensics team jumps into action. They then search and make seizures of evidences. The team searches devices involved in the crime for evidence and data. Investigators seize these devices to make sure the perpetrators can't continue to act. And then the evidence collection, which comes after seizing the devices. Professionals collect the data using forensics method to undo the evidence. Now that we have the evidence collected from the crime committed, then it is necessary to preserve this evidence. Therefore, I'm going to talk about the preservation stage. Digital information can easily be altered or destroyed if mishandled, so it must be preserved to keep it safe from tampering. This maintains the integrity of the evidence. Digital forensic examiners typically use image backup file while preserving the evidence. It is on this image backup files that they do the different analysis that needs to be done to analyze this evidence. It is critical to ensure that the examiner does not leave any additional footprints while creating the image. Images software helps them to evidence tampering. An example of a good forensic of a good imaging software is the forensic toolkit, which is popularly known as the FTK. Now that our evidence has been preserved and the integrity has been upholded, now we talk about the analysis. This involves reviewing the identified evidence to determine the accuracy of the results. Analysts then look for any additional data that might help answer questions about the case. This is a very important stage because it's actually the stage where the findings are made. They usually employ specialized digital forensic softwares that sorts through all of the evidence quickly and efficiently, finding out what happened as soon as possible. These softwares help them understand the incidents and create evidence and create events timeline. Now that our analysis has been done, there is need to document. And that brings me to the documentation stage. In fact, all through during the analysis, there is need for documentation because what you document cannot be forgotten. If a forensic expert refuses to document why making those analyses, then there's tendency that such will forget critical urgent findings, which may then make his report inconclusive. So I'm going to talk about documentation. Digital forensics analysts needs to document their findings in court as evidence. Other investigators or supervisors within the organization may also request access to this information for their purposes. Good digital forensics documentation covers critical information to draw insights and make an accurate, logical conclusion. Now that documentation has been completed, then we talk about the presentation stage. After documentation, experts summarize and present their findings to a court or any other investigating authority. Presentation resembles multiple angles of security incidents together, helping the investigating bodies come to a logical conclusion. These presentations follow protocols and include forensic methodology and analysis procedures with their explanations. This brings me to the very important phenomenon or concept which I call the root cause analysis. It is the process of discovering the root causes of problem in order to identify appropriate solution. Root cause analysis assumes that it is much more effective to systematically prevent and solve underlying issues rather than just treating ad hoc symptoms and putting out fires. There are 5 steps of involved in root cause analysis. 1 is to gather data. 2 is to document information. 3 is to identify the causes. 4 is to determine solution. 5 is to share the results. Now, the root cause analysis is implemented to achieve different goals. First goal is that it is used to discover the root cause of a problem or event. The second goal is to fully understand how to fix, compensate, and learn from any underlying issues within the root cause. The third goal is to apply what we learn from the analysis to systematically prevent future issues or to repeat successes. This brings me to the best practices used in digital forensics. I'm going to quickly talk about 3 out of the numerous best practices used in digital forensics. Now, whenever possible, a forensic expert must not examine the original media. The backup copies must be used for analysis, not the original media. Another best practice is that the use of write blocking technology must be used or employed to preserve the original while it is being copied. Computer forensics examiners must meet minimum proficiency standards. Another best practice is that examination results should be reviewed by a supervisor or peer reviewed on a regular schedule. Another one is that the forensic examiner must observe the highest ethical standard, no compromise at all. And such an expert must be neutral at all times in his or her examination. Forensic examiner must remain objective at all times. To conclude, digital forensics helps in the processing of data. Using digital forensics, investigators can retrieve, scrutinize, and store data on electronic devices. It provides experts the opportunities to use the data as evidence during trials in the court of. These are my references. Thank you so much for listening to me.